how to give career guidance on the basis of Vedic astrology. And career guidance, by the way, is a multi-dimensional process. Let me tell you, you cannot just guide a person on the basis of their chart. You have to take into account a lot of things. However, Vedic astrology is very helpful. This video is being made from the perspective of astrologers, Vedic astrologers, and astro life coaches, anybody who is a practitioner of Vedic astrology and attends to clients. You can utilize the things that are being talked about in this video. Now, let's say anytime a person comes up to you and says that I'm going through a lot of difficult problems in my career and I don't really know how to handle them. Okay, I've been out of a job for a long time period and I don't really know how to deal with it, what to do. The first thing that you need to look at is you need to look at what kind of time periods they are running in terms of the planetary maturation. Now, it's a lot more complicated than that, obviously, but looking at the planetary maturations from the get-go, when a person says that, I'm having a lot of problems in my career, I don't know, I've been out of a job, will give you the nature of the problem in a quick glance. Let's say a person comes to you and he says that I'm going through all of these problems that we talked about. I've been out of a job, nothing is working out for me, I don't really know what to do, where to go. And you say that they're on about 41, 42 or 37, 48, then they're undergoing a nodal maturation, because Rahu matures at 41, 42, Rahu matures at 42 and Ketu matures at 48. Obviously, these dates and these times and these ages are not set in stone. So you start feeling the effects a year before or a year later. And if they are 42 or 48 and they're having major career problems, then look at where Rahu is transiting through their chart. Number one. Number two, look at what Rahu is pointing towards in terms of the D1 and the D10 chart. Let me explain. Let's say a person, they come to you with the same problems that we discussed. I'm not going to repeat them over and over again. And you see that they are 48. And you see that their south node is placed in the 5th house. Now, this person has probably spent the better part of their life trying to go out, build connections, trying to rely on other people, trying to rely on contacts to advance in life. Now that they're undergoing Ketu maturation, Ketu is opening up what he had been denying this individual. And so this person, the next question that you should ask them is, have you ever thought of creating something of your own, doing something of your own? And if they respond in the affirmative, then you can be sure, okay, this is a situation that is being caused by Ketu here. In the same way, let's say this person comes to you, right? Nothing's working out for me. I really don't know what to do with my life. I'm not able to keep my job. I'm just drifting. And they are, let's say, 30. Now, you can see here that they are undergoing two important events. One is the Mars maturation, which happens at 28. But you notice quite a bit of these, aftershocks well into your, 29th and 30th year. And another important thing that is happening between the age of 28 and 30 is your Saturn return. Immediately, when this person says, okay, you know what, I'm 30 years old, immediately look at what Saturn is doing. Look at what Saturn return is doing. If, let's say, this person has Saturn placed in the 6th house and there's a Saturn return going on in the 6th house and they've been out of a job and they're confused what to do with life, you can bet for sure that this person is headed towards a definitive change in their work, nature of work, and career. Okay, let me give you another example to bring more clarity. Let's say, same situation, confused, jobless, without success. You see the person, you see that this person's age is 35. 35 is when Saturn matures. You look at their chart, look at where Saturn is placed. Let's say Saturn is placed in the 2nd house for them, right? And they're going through all of these difficulties and problems and confusions. Ask them, what have you always wanted to build in life? Why? Because that is the energy that is unlocking for them. Quite often what happens in terms of our career, and when you have to give somebody career guidance, these aren't usually, kids in their 15, 16 or, 17 years of age coming to you, well, what should we do? I mean, you cannot really do the aptitude testing and all of that. Usually the clients that you get as a Vedic astrologer, as a life coach, as a practitioner, are individuals who know a fair bit about life, but at some point, somewhere, they got lost and they didn't really have the right person to advise them. That's why they've come to you. And most of the times what happens is that people are more confused when they are being pushed back into a door which had been closed for them earlier, compared to the confusion that you would have if you had a lot of options in front of you and you didn't know what to do. Okay, on that note, let's take the second example. Let's say a person comes to you, okay, and says that I'm very confused. There are a lot of things I want. There are a lot of things I want to do. I just don't really know how to get them done. Look at the chart. If you see that moon is prominent, very prominent, you have maximum placements in moon nakshatras. Let's say you got 2-3 planets in Hasta, or you got 4-5 planets in Shravana, right? Also, let's say you have a lot of placements in Mrigashira. That is still important, although it's not a moon nakshatra, that still gives a prominent moon. Why? Because Soma, the moon, is the ruling deity of the nakshatra of Mrigashira. Okay, and so you see that they have moon prominent in their chart. You will see quite often individuals who have moon too powerful can be quite moody, can find it hard to focus on just the one thing and ignore their emotions and just soldier on through life. Advising these individuals on keeping themselves together and pushing through it is futile. When you see an individual who has moon very prominent in their chart, the first thing that you need to ask them is, okay, what do you feel like doing the most? And once you ask them that question, you will start seeing a lot of patterns emerge from their thoughts that are very consistent with the placements that you see in their chart. And on the basis of that, then you can offer guidance. In the same way, let's say you have a person who has a very strong influence of Ketu. Well, people often say that, Ketu, headless planet and all that. No, Ketu people in first house, Ketu in first house, or Ketu prominent, these people can be very skilled, right? But they're just not able to see their own skill. And they come to you and they say that, there are a lot of things I want to do. I just don't know which one I should go after. Okay? Then you have to ask this person, this Ketu prominent person, what do you feel drawn towards the most? And they tell you, I don't really know. And then you ask them, if money was not an issue, if money was not a problem, if you didn't have to fit into the systems that people in society have created for you, then what would you feel or allow yourself to feel the most drawn to? And then when they describe that, you will be able to see it is very consistent with the placement of Ketu energy in their chart. Okay, so this is how, by asking the right questions from individuals, when you're looking at the chart and they're coming to you and they're utterly confused and they're looking to you to reset that configuration. As a coach, as a life coach, as a Vedic astrologer, good Vedic astrologer, Vedic Astro life coach, I'd say, your job is not really to make predictions all the time, but help people come back to their center. Discuss that, these concepts a lot more deeper in the course that I have coming up, Astro Life Coaching Practitioner course. You can check it out. The link is given here in the description box if you'd like to apply to it. Point number 3. Let's say an individual comes to you asking you about a job change. Want to shift? Is it a good time to shift? Is it a good time for me to change my job or line of work? Look at the D10 chart. If you see in their D10 chart that they have recently begun the Mahadasha of a planet that is placed in the 8th house, or they are undergoing a nodal return, that means Rahu transiting over Rahu, Ketu transiting over Ketu, or they're undergoing a planetary maturation, the different ages of maturation, If you see any of these things or a combination of these things, then you can be sure that this is a pivotal moment in their life where they're going to be ending one thing probably and moving in a different direction. However, if you see them undergoing a reverse nodal transit, let's say, which means what? Ketu transiting over Rahu, Rahu transiting over Ketu in the D10 or the D1, then you should advise them that it's not the best time to go for a change. You need to do some internal work right now because you're not really going to see a lot of this effort manifest out in your life. Once more, if you see Saturn's transiting through their 10th house, once again tell them that, you're better off focusing on the bigger picture here and digging your heels into what needs to be done and moving ahead with it. Because whenever Saturn transits your 10th house, sure, it can bring about a change in your work, but usually Saturn transiting your 10th house, what it does is, it is just going to make you work harder in a different direction. So ask this person, why do you want to change your job? Is it because the workload is too much? If they say yes, then tell them, workload is going to be the same, even if you picked up something else. So these are very quick techniques, very quick ideas on the basis of which you can give a person instantaneous advice and ask them the right questions on the basis of which you can give them the right advice. Okay, so I'm going to be making more videos like this and sharing them with you because I know that quite a lot of the population here on this channel is of other astrologers, other life coaches, other coaches, and I hope to bring you material that can be beneficial for you in your own sessions. If you'd like to know more about my Astro Life Coaching Practitioner course, the link is given here in the description box. You can go check it out. You'd have to fill up the form. Once I get the form, we're going to contact you if your profile is shortlisted and take it further from there. Thank you so much. Take care. Adios.